interesantes shows en vivo, tu mejor opción en internet, radiocristalusa.com.
Show. Welcome to Catching Up with Claudia. Now, ojalá que se puedan quedar hasta el final para que puedan escuchar lo que va a compartir mi invitada o mi invitado. Así es que no se les olvide también de seguirnos por las redes sociales. Estamos en todas las plataformas. Hasta luego. Hola, welcome, bienvenidos a mi show, La Super Comadre Claudia de radiocristalusa.com. Welcome, and this is also the podcast recording of the Claudia Macias podcast. And you know, it's a beautiful day. Okay, well, it's kind of hot here in Houston, but you know, I'm still going to be grateful for the beautiful day. But you know, I just want to do a little intro for those that are joining for the first time. You know, this is just a time and space for me to share thoughts, ideas, and my connects by inviting them on as a guest. And each guest that comes on, they have something to share for the benefit of humankind. Now, you may not always agree, and that's okay, because you can always turn it off too. But if you want to stay, even if you don't agree, that's okay too. Listen, you know, we might connect. Now, if you've been here with me before, welcome back. If you're new, here's a little bit about me. I'm a mom. I got two amazing teenage girls. I'm an educator. That's my background. I've been in education for many years. Let's just say I started in 1997. Yes, in the 1900s. I am a lover of music and dance and naps. And I'm curious. I'm committed. I'm a collaborator, a community builder, and a community uplifter. So welcome to La Super Comadre Claudia show and the recording of the Claudia Macias podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to bring on two amazing women who are in the community. And today I'm calling it Politics, Community, and 50 and Fabulous living fabulously in our 50s. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and when they come on, they're going to share a little bit about what they're doing in the community. How are they uplifting it? What are they doing to help humankind? And one of my guests, my first one, her name is Conchita Reyes, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with redistricting, upcoming elections. Yes, La Super Comadre loves to talk about las elecciones. They're coming up November the 4th. We're going to talk about Position at Large 4. And we're going to talk about the International Women's Fest. Because again, community is key, right? And, you know, how's it going being in our 50s? We're going to talk about that too. And then after her, I'm going to bring on another guest, Belinda Luna. She is going to be joining us to talk about the Mariachi Festival that's coming on. And I want her to give us a personal invite, to give you a personal invite, because again, it's all about community, cultura, you know, sharing that, being part of that. And that Mariachi Festival is a ticket that you just want. It's a beautiful experience. So she'll come on to give us that info, that history, and how you can connect to get those tickets so we can see each other there in community. But before we get started, a little bit about La Comadre, La Super Comadre Claudia, en la comunidad, up in the community. So what have I been up to? So, you know, first of all, I'm here and I'm okay because, as you know, I've been struggling with this whole menopause era. What was it? Hashtag cincuentañera era. Hashtag las menopausias. Hashtag hot flash era. So, you know, I'm going to be open and transparent because, you know, you never know who this might help. Maybe you're going through something like this. Maybe you live with someone that might be experiencing this. Maybe you are dating. Maybe you are a partner to someone that might be going through this moment, right? So anywho, so I'm going to share about that. I feel much better because I am not only am I doing Men Awake, but I had to kind of call in some backup for me. Everyone has a different body, different needs. But I'm on hormone replacement treatment or therapy, one of those. And it's been super helpful. So I just want to say thank you for to the shout outs, the science, and also, Men Awake as well, because I'm doing it all. I had to do it all to get better for me and for my girls and for my brain because it was feeling a little crazy. But so what have I been up to now that I got this a little bit of energy back because of the hormone replacement therapy? And that only works for me. You need to talk to your doctor. Make sure you get what you need for you. And also natural stuff too. Again, talk to your providers so that you can get a good plan for yourself, because every plan doesn't work for everybody the same way, and that's okay. Um, so last week I had a chance to go out there as a board member of the Dia de los Muertos board, and we had a kickoff, and we're celebrating Dia de los Muertos again this year. This is the 5th year that this is being celebrated downtown on November the 1st. We're gonna have a festival and a parade, so keep an ear out because we're gonna be sharing more of that. So I had a chance to go out to that community. I'm part of that board, and you'll be hearing more. And then I had a chance to be a keynote speaker for the Rising Stars Internship Academy over at the University of St. Thomas. I had a chance to, guys, I didn't know I was going to do this. They asked me to be part of the panel, so I was thinking I'm going to be sitting with 5 other people or 4 other people and being a part of the panel. And then all of a sudden I get there. They're like, no, you're the keynote speaker. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, thank God I took some notes. Well, it was all about networking. My experience with the National Hispanic Professional Organization networking events that we do, and my experience with them and being part of their board. And it was just amazing being in a room full of about 100 students between freshman through senior levels at the University of St. Thomas, and they all pretty much look like me. And it was amazing to be a part of that. It was a surprise, but no worries. La Super Comadre got in there, went at it, just shared my stories, and that's all I could do is share. That's what we're doing, building community, right? And supporting the next batch of kids coming through. So I had a chance to be a part of that beautiful celebration. And then I went over to Escuelita, because Escuelita this Saturday had a graduation that involved my girls. And if you don't know about Escuelita, I'm going to bring on the people that came up with that program. It's Jesse Rodriguez, his wife Joanna Rodriguez, and then Dr. Desi Rios. And I've had Dr. Desi on. We talked about menopause a while back, but they together put a program that is all about uplifting Chicano history, Latino history, special eds here in Houston. And I love how they called it We Are Someone, that is based on the Be Someone mural that you see out there. If you're living here in Houston, you'll see it. But it was amazing how the community came together. And if you don't know this, there's a lot of funding that's being cut or not being given again. So the community really had to come out and support this wonderful program. So they're going to be coming out. I'm going to put them on so that you can learn more about Escuelita and how your students, your kids can be a part of this if they're in 8th grade all the way up through seniors. So that was la Super Comadre en la Comunidad. And I was also a bridesmaid. I was in a wedding. I had a friend that got married. It's her 3rd time. So, 3rd time's the charm. And I wish her all the best. And she's also a comadre that's been on before. She is my shiny comadre. And I wish her all the best to Maria Elena Cortez with Fausto. Yes, that's his last name. I forgot his last name, but his first name is Fausto. So I want to wish them both an amazing life together. And I had a chance to witness that union, and it was beautiful. It was a little hot, but it was beautiful. And it was beautiful to see them together and connecting and sharing that moment with us. So that was in that community. And so that was a little bit. Oh, and then another community thing I did. And if you don't know, if this is new, I work with Brain Builders, and Brain Builders is a program that is beautiful and wonderful for families that have little ones between the ages of 0 to 3. And I was out there recruiting families over at the Tejano Centers, one of their schools called Rice STEM Academy in Pasadena. And I met about, 20 families, signed them up for Brain Builders. And Brain Builders is free, and it's a time and space that we offer online and in person for parents to come together and connect and to figure out, oh my gosh, what can I do to support my baby's development, my toddler's development before they go to school? And also to comadrear, because it's hard being a mom and it's hard being a dad sometimes. So coming together with other parents and saying, oh, you too? You go through that too? Yes, me too. Okay, I'm not the only one. We need to make sure that we connect and we continue building community. So I'm excited to continue offering brain builders through my work. That's my day job. And I had a chance to talk to so many families. So yes. And also to round out La Comadre en la Comunidad, happy first day of school to all the little kids that went back to school, all of the educator warriors that suited up and went to school today and had a chance to welcome all the kids back. Now, some of you have already been in school since last week. Some are not starting until next week, but this is the back to school era. Bienvenidos a la escuela otra vez de nuevo. Maestros y maestras, wishing you all the best as you receive these little ones and the big ones and get them through this year and get them out into the world. All right, so that wraps up for La Super Comadre en la Comunidad. I want to bring on my returning comadre, super comadre, by the name of Conchita. Where is she? Come on down. There she is.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So I see you got a new place there.
Oh yeah,
I'm loving
it's my manifestation home.
I love your manifested home there. How are you doing? We were just talking offline before we got on that it's been since 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So at that time you were running for office.
Yes.
Yes. And now move forward. I want to know, as a Latino community advocate and still continuing to be out there, what have you been doing? What have you been involved with, and how we can learn from it?
Well, as soon as I lost, I turned around and started helping those that made it through the runoff. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to do was encourage everyone to go back out there and vote for those that needed support to finish off the runoff. And once that was done, I started looking at catching up with my life. Yes. I had to, you put about a year and a half, focusing on trying to win an election. And it was a hard race. The count was like, I had 43,000 votes. The next person had 48. And then the winner, or the one that made it to the runoff as well, had 50,000. But it was very
really close.
It was, and what the funny thing is as soon as I was done, everyone was like, okay, what seat are you going to run for next? And it was just like, let me recuperate, let me catch up with my life. And then, I still get it. Like even this morning, 3 people came up to me and says, when are you going to run for office? Mm-hmm. And, it's humbling, that people have that faith in you. Mm-hmm. To even want you to go run again and encourage you and stuff. But it's a tough way to live your life, mm-hmm. running for office. And for those that keep running and trying to find that seat. I've had some elected officials tell me that they ran 8 times or 6 times. And I'm like, no, my goal was just to win that one. My goal was not to keep, running, but, and it's the unfortunate part of it. It's just that, you put so much effort and so much faith and those that put faith in you and money, you feel the obligation. But the funny thing is I haven't stopped.
Yes.
And in fact, I get asked all the time, are you running for a position? I go, no, why? It's just that you're still out there. You always.
Absolutely.
And I was like, well, I've always been out there. I've always been there. It's that now you're starting to pay attention that, what is Conchita up to? And it's so funny because those that are new to my world, they were like, what time do you sleep? Like, when do you sleep? When do you take a break? When do you have time for yourself? And that's the best thing about my life is that I'm doing the advocacy work and it's what gives me pleasure. Yeah. And then I also encourage other people to do that same thing in their community. And I teach them and I show them and I share my network and I share my ideas so that other communities throughout the Houston area benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important because a lot of times, as you look, Houston's the third largest city. It's the demographics is so wide and stuff. And so, at times cities, government, local government, federal government, state cannot provide. And so then it comes to us. What can we do to help our community thrive?
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, we know what's best, at times what our community needs. And I think it's important for us to voice that. And in fact, I'm actually working with East End Community, Gracie Signs, Al Castillo, Blanca Blanco, and Jesse Rodriguez in getting these town hall meetings throughout the Latino community. We started in the East End. We moved to Pasadena. Now we're going to be on the north side on August 21st from 6:30 to 8:30. And it's going to be at the Leonel Castillo Community Center. And that's going to be critical because all the stakeholders will be there. There's going to be elected officials. There are going to be nonprofit organizations, and then the community itself. So we're going to all start sitting around and talking about what our needs are, what's happening. For example, there was a gentleman that had his SNAP program. It went from $157 to $25.
Wow.
And
for a month?
For a month.
Oh, that's okay.
And so the question is, what happened? What do we need to do to assist them? So luckily we had Gloria Moreno from Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia's office that was going to look into it and everything. But there were several other issues that were pointed out that, at times, sometimes we don't see it, we don't hear it. If you don't speak up, we're not going to know. And so I think it's crucial that our community starts voicing out the needs of what's happening. I told somebody, God forbid, if we have the same situation like in the 1950s where we hear that our seniors are eating cat food because they can't even afford canned tuna. So that's my biggest fear with everything with the administration as it is.
So back to and how do we help you connect the importance of voting to what you're hearing at the town halls? Because now we're seeing the results with this. Let's talk about the redistricting and what's happening there. And we're hearing one story of one person whose SNAP was cut tremendously, right? That's just nothing. You might as well not give the person anything.
Right.
But how do you what do you see so that could be said so that the normal person, you and I, that maybe, well, you're not, we're going to vote, but maybe those are like not real, they're seeing what's going on, they're feeling hopeless, they're feeling like, what's the point? How do you make sure that they show up to the town halls? How can we make sure, and those that are scared to leave their homes because maybe they don't have the U.S. citizen status, and how do we ensure, how do we do that? How do we make sure that they see those connections? Because it seems like connecting the dots are very well done with the other party, with a particular party. And how do we make sure that folks connect those dots? What do you see happening, or what do you think would be the best thing?
Well, for one, the town hall meetings that we're having, we're bringing everybody to the table and sharing resources. Like I said, we're going to have nonprofit organizations like Baker Ripley assisting with any type of immigration issues. We're going to have a Safe Walk Home. And that one, Stella has a 3-phase program where it shows you how to safely teach your kids how to walk home and everything, resources, but then also typical life-saving situations, like if your husband or wife fell in the shower tub, how do you handle them? In most cases, some people would like to pick them up, but in most cases, the critical issue is to keep them on the ground and their neck sturdy until the EMS arrives. So all that's being taught. And then the third phase of her program is self-defense. And so that's held in Northside, Houston. We would like to spread that program throughout the Hispanic community. So we would like to bring it to the East End and Pasadena and Aldine area. And I call that the Latino corridor. So all the way up and down, that's majority of the Latino settlement. And then we have the Gulfton to the left and Spring Branch. But it's critical to encourage those that can vote to vote. And those that can't vote encourage those that can vote. And so it's like, when are you going to go vote? They have every right to ask them, have you voted? Can you vote? Because they're, in essence, representing them as well. I feel like, when I go vote, I'm not just voting for myself. I'm voting for my daughter who's 13. I'm voting for my son that's in the Navy, my 19-year-old, he's voting for our family. And so it's critical that everyone goes out to vote and then check on their voting status. There's been a lot of drops. There was one when I was doing calls that the lady said, I didn't even know I could vote. I had registered and I never received any documentation or anything to tell me that I could go vote. So I researched, and it was not just her. It was like 5 of her family members could go vote.
Oh, wow.
In the household. So it was one of the things, because a lot of times people move from out of state and they don't know the process here in Texas. And to be honest with you, Texas really does suppress our voters.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that. How we're seeing right now, the break in quorum. And I want you to talk a little bit about what that means, because from what I'm understanding is that they are doing something which is written in our Texas Constitution.
Correct.
So they're not there. This is something that could be used.
Yes, it's a tool. It's a tool.
It's a tool in the event that they see the other party doing things that are just like not right. We're at that point. So how do we, what did you do? What information can you give us to know about what's going on and how that redistricting, the map that's been written, how could it affect us?
So the effect of the redistricting is that you'll get somebody that won't be represented. Have somebody that has other agendas, other issues that they will tackle and pretty much silence your vote and your voice. And so that's the whole purpose of our Texas legislators, Democrat legislators, walking out and breaking quorum. And essentially they're there in Chicago, Illinois, in protest. And it's a form of protest. And so it's a tool that was given to us by our forefathers, as you mentioned. The governor had every right to call a special election because there was a emergency. And as everyone knows, the Hill Country was hit hard, devastated on the 4th of July, and also in Leander, Texas, which is 28 minutes from Austin. And I have been referred by Commissioner Garcia to handle a nonprofit organization, a national organization called Extreme Weather Survivor. And so right now, currently, I've been in Leander for a month, helping and assisting the recovery part of the disaster relief. And so our focus is providing mental health and GoFundMe for residents, and then also small businesses and so forth. But to get back to your question, he had every right to provide emergency fundings for that particular need. Instead, he called for a special election, and then he turned around and decided to focus on redistricting. So they've had 2 meetings for the emergency, for the disaster relief. And he's had over 10 meetings on the redistricting.
So it looks like someone, and what I had researched or heard was that from the top down, from the very top down in the White House, someone said, the person that's running the nation said, give me 5 seats. Now, when he said that, can you kind of elaborate what Trump or the person in office meant by saying, give me 5 seats? And then all of a sudden, looks like Texas is bending over backwards to give him 5 seats. But break it down. What does that mean? And how does that tie with redistricting?
Yes. So he verbally stated, we could get about 4 to 5 seats in Texas. So everyone had kind of figured something funny was going on. And even our state representative, Jolanda Jones, mentioned I was kind of puzzled why I was in this redistricting committee back in January, but now it makes sense. So it was already pre-planned. But overall, it's a restructuring of our population. So each district holds about 700,000 residents and any form of ethnicity. But in reality, the only way you can have a full minority district it's called a single minority representation district, and it has to be 50 or more. And so, like, Sylvia Garcia is a single member majority district. And so she had 74.5%. So in reality, they shouldn't have touched her, right? Because it's a legitimate district. But to purposely arrange where a potential Republican could win, they redistrict her whole area. So she has the northern part of Houston, where she was all the way down to Pasadena, Galena Park, and everything else. So she had been a congresswoman for 6 years, representing these individuals, even Segundo Barrio on navigation and so forth. And now they're restructured to where she is barely in her own district.
So
residency wise.
So now lead us into the seats or the areas. So you named Sylvia Garcia. You as
that's district. So the 4 districts that was being eyed on was Sylvia Garcia, District 29, Al Green, District 9, the former Sylvester Turner, who passed away, District 18, and then Mark VC in Dallas, who is District 33. So there was the 4 that they were eyeing on, but in reality, they needed 5. So the 5 are 3 in Houston that was redistrict, but there's another 3 in the Valley that is set for Republican Latinos per se.
Possible,
possible.
So it seems like they were very calculated.
Yes.
And drawing lines to help gain some seats. Now, why do they keep saying that that's not what they're doing? When it's pretty obvious.
Because overall, in the beginning, they said that that's not what they were doing, but now they've gotten pretty cocky and says, we can do it.
Oh, I haven't heard that part. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some where it says, we're going to do whatever we need to do to win those district and we have every right to restructure them. So basically.
So how do we respond to that as, okay, we have the legislatures that are breaking quorum and protesting this because now it's obvious what they're doing. How do you and how can we support that doesn't happen? Because it sounds to me you named some people that are very vocal. Al Green, he's always vocal for needs and calling people out as he should. Sylvia Garcia as well, calling out like when something is not right. So it seems like they're choosing not only areas that they can make it, better for them, for the other people to win, but also people that are very vocal.
Well, it's a good point that you noticed that. So Sylvia was on the first impeachment hearing. So you got to remember this
person
in the White House doesn't forget, and he's very revengeful.
That is true.
And so he goes after his so-called enemies. So, and then, Al Green was the one to file the impeachment hearing for this term. So he was the first, and then he was censored, if you remember, from the State of the White House address or the State of the Address. And then, of course, Turner, it was just overall that seat was available because of the death. They made it an excuse.
And also, didn't I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, not filling in a seat and not calling us an election, they've kind of been dragging their feet to...
They delayed it for 18 months or 15 months. Yeah.
Now, this is a group of people that if you're into Texans and you're into supporting Texans, then why are we doing all these things that are not supporting Texans? And I'm not even talking about red and
blue.
Red and blue. I'm talking about Texans. Like, if you really, if you're really into... I'm into children being okay. Why not?
Funding that should be
the
funding that should happen in CD 18. Yeah,
exactly. Instead, we get the 10 Commandments. Like, I get it. We should all pray, but we are still waiting for the kids who were and the teachers who were killed in Rob Elementary,
massacred.
Massacred, and we still haven't received anything. They haven't received any justice for that. So, and now we have the kids that drowned, the families. Why? I don't understand this. I think it's, and this is where, how can we connect this information, share this. How can we help people connect the dots and see when your SNAP benefits are being affected, it is a result of the current administration. When you see that they're spending time on removing people who are doing good for their people that they represent, why? So how can we get people excited about this? So
we need
get them to vote.
So, like, for example, quorum. Okay, so they need 3 more Democrats to move over to Austin to make quorum. We had 8 Latinos break quorum. I mean, they left. Well, what was it? 6 never left Austin. So they showed up that first day, all Latinos from the Valley. And then we had 2 that left the following day to Austin. And then we recently had 1 leave Chicago to Austin. And they're all the Valley. And that's the thing. I don't understand why nuestro gente, the border and everything. I understand the border needs to be, secured and everything. And I totally agree in that situation. But there's so much more on the table. You know what I mean? It's like you're sacrificing for one piece of the puzzle when there's much more pieces.
There are many more pieces.
Like SNAP. And then I had a gentleman that called me, and he had issues with TSA not renewing his TWIC card. And this was keeping him from working at the Port of Houston and keeping him from getting overtime. And for me, that's food on the table for his family. And so he worked on it for like a month and a half. I worked on it for like a half a month. And then finally I had to call Congressman Garcia's office. And I said, this guy really needs help. This is keeping him from continuing to work in the Port of Houston, but also overtime. So, they did their magic, and he was able to renew his TWIC card, and he's able to get overtime now. And see, that's the thing. We all need to be involved one way or another. Instead of saying, oh, they took my SNAP away, my funding to 25. This guy went to that town hall meeting and made sure he voiced his issue. And for us, we wanted to make sure that someone was going to be able to listen. And that's the importance, is that we can't just complain to the universe and hope something's going to happen. We have to be activated. We have to be involved. We have to assist each other. There's going to be individuals that cannot leave their house for one reason or another. So we have to advocate for them. We have to assist in any means possible in making sure that our voices are heard. And it goes for me as well. I mean, even though I'm a U.S. citizen, my skin color, I have to take a picture of my birth certificate and my passport and have it on my phone. And that's if they're going to bother to look at it. They might just take me in and do process me and then bring me out afterwards. And that's what's been happening to a lot of our U.S. citizens, Latinos, is that they're being picked up and then they go into this due process for about 48 hours to 72 hours, and then they're released. Yeah. And the fact is it just brings fear to our community, and that's unnecessary. Unnecessary.
You're right. And to me, sometimes I think this is all by design too.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a bigger story, a bigger, plan to keep us afraid. And
that's the issue. People forget that this has happened before. So this is not his playbook. This is a playbook that has been used over and over for Latinos. And I'm going to quote Rich Rodriguez when he pointed out, our Latino community is the only one that gets their clocks reset. Because my grandfather his family came in the 1920s. He was born in 1926. By 1933, he was deported with his parents. So they were sent by railroad to the border. They walked 600 miles to their hometown in Michoacan. And then it wasn't until his 20s that he came back to Houston, and he was able to get his delayed birth certificate, knowing that he was a U.S. citizen. But throughout his whole year, even to the day he died at 97, he had his birth certificate photo in his wallet.
Wow. That's some trauma. That is some serious trauma. And right now, what's happening, we're building more trauma now in generations. And this is why it's super important to have these conversations, to have these town halls, to share those stories. And like you said, we, not just bring the issue, but what can we do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And the other piece, which is connected to the graduation that my girls went to over the weekend, is the history, knowing what has happened in the past, what that we have always been here, and that this is nothing new. But how do we make sure that our young folks, I don't care what their background is, that they understand that this is nothing new and that we're not supposed to let this happen again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's not have this type of history repeat itself.
Exactly. And you did point out, why are our Valley friends, shooting us in the foot themselves and ourselves and I, like you said, yes.
And our Venezuelans and our Cubans and everything, because now they're shooting themselves in the foot because he just took away the amnesty part for Cubans, and then the Venezuelans, he didn't renew he didn't allow the visa for the Little League Venezuelan players. Yeah. And so now we have FIFA, and now they're debating whether to have FIFA here in the United States because of the way he's handling things, which is affecting our Houston economy because we were anticipating that event for Houston in June 2026.
So you said earlier, there's so many little pieces that we need to look at the bigger picture. We cannot just vote on one issue. We have to look at all the little pieces, because it affects what we eat, how we eat, where we eat, if we have, the economy, brought up by these events that are coming in. I mean, it's everything. The person that needed his car to go and work overtime so he can make sure he's at the port to receive the stuff that's being shipped over, because that's how this works. There's so many little pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even know where to, I just want to know. I want to know from you. And I'm going to start asking, what's going to happen in 2028?
Well,
will we be having an election?
Yes, we will be having an election with probably some new districts. So our Texas Democrat legislators are doing the best they can with what they have. The tool was to break quorum. But mind you, they have all the way up to the 19th, and then that special session ends, and then the governor can call for another special session. Well, of course, they're going to have a game plan. And yes, our Texas legislators can break quorum again, and they can break quorum all the way until November to guarantee that this redistricting does not happen for the 2026 election. Okay. So that's the thing. But, in the meantime, we're playing defense. We're having to block and tackle and everything. And these guys have the playbook. And
we need
so
to borrow their playbook.
Well,
I know
we should, and that's been the question. Why are we playing defense? Why are we always, behind the plan of theirs when he announced it back in 2015? Well, no one took him serious. This project 2025, out of 800, he's at 300 and something with 100 and something still pending. But this guy is going full force. He's plowing through, and we're watching it like a reality TV show.
Absolutely.
Well, some of us.
Yeah.
Some of us. During the redistricting hearing in Austin, I went and testified.
Yeah, talk about that. What was that like?
Well, of course, you're looking at those that are on the Republican side, and they're just out of they didn't care. I mean, they looked at you with a dull face, knowing that they were wasting their time because they were going to still plow through this redistricting, right? But the fact is that we have to continue our democracy, and we have to use every tool that we have in our democracy. And so for me, I had to go and testify. And actually, I was in Leander, doing my job, and I was dirty with my work boots and everything. And I showed up to testify, and I'm like, guys, I just came from Leander, which no one's talking about. Everybody's talking and addressing, which they have every right of the Hill Country, but yet Leander lost 13 people, and they had 50 homes displaced and so forth, and small businesses, and no one is even talking. They're like 28 minutes from Austin.
Yeah. Wow. So when you gave your testify and you spoke, what were your words exactly, and how does that help at all?
It brings question to bay. So we had Democrat legislators asking questions. And I mentioned how they were touching District 29, which is Sylvia's seat, and it's a single minority district, which it's truly at its form. It was 74.5%. It is, and they're talking about dismantling it, which they did on the redistricting part. And then I mentioned about FIFA, how this whole midterm redistricting and everything, all this chaos is happening in the middle of our, supposedly our best economy opportunity with FIFA. And now you're doing this, you're disrupting the norm. And then, for me, it was bringing my daughter to the Capitol and showing her that even I, who is a one resident in Houston, can voice their opinion and point out that what they're doing is wrong. And it's not only affecting me and those around me, but it's affecting her future and her generation. And I made sure I pointed out her generation as well.
All right. Well, we got Belinda. We want to bring our second guest on, but I want to say thank you for bringing light. And let's bring her on because we got 2 festivals that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
All right. So before we bring her on, bring on Belinda, because we want to talk about, community. Because in the midst of us making sure that we show up to vote, that we voice our needs, that we are understanding what's going on in politics, because politics affects everything, right? But I also want to bring in the community piece. We got to still stay connected. We got to still make sure that we're uplifting, places for folks to gather and to connect, because we need humanity right now.
Yeah.
So I want for Belinda, I want you to bring on and say hello, introduce yourself, and tell us what is coming up this weekend.
So
how can we connect it
August
to you?
22nd, 23rd, 24th, we're going to have our 6th annual Mariachi Festival at the Wortham Theater. So you got to come out and support this beautiful mariachis, folklorico music. We have kids coming in from California, from Utah. And this is the first time we actually have a winner from the youth vocal competition coming from Mexico, from Oaxaca. So it's going to be an exciting weekend. And we have Mateo Lopez from San Antonio, who was in the Guinness Book of World Records as the youngest mariachi at 4 years old. So it's going to be an exciting weekend. You guys can come out. It's mariachifestival.com, has all the information for the tickets. So it'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Now, I've had the honor and the pleasure of being there, and I think from the second one on out. I think the first one I went to was at Houston Baptist. I think that was the first one I went to.
Okay, that was the second. We actually had a first one at Talento Bilingüe.
Okay.
That was the first. And the second one we had at HBU, the theater, and that seats 1,400. And then we went to the Wortham Theater, seats 2,400 for 1 day, and now we're at 3 days. So obviously there's plenty of Latinos out there that want mariachi music and coming out. So right now we're at 3 days, and this is a fancy theater in Houston, y'all. This is fancy. So gala, Saturday we do gala attire. Everybody comes in their gala attire. And then Friday and Sunday they come out with their Mexican dresses and guayaberas. So, and you can see the website there. So it's got we have a fabulous Jose Longoria here from Houston with, if you've been to a football game, they're out there getting the crowd going at the Houston Texans. And he's with U of H Pumas. He created an all-star youth. So this is youth from all over Houston that he puts together. These kids are amazing. So, and then he's got his own group, Mariachi Imperial, 3rd generation. So it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Now tell me, Belinda, what was the spark that someone said, hey, we need to do this? What was the connection? Where was the idea from?
So the idea came in 2019 with my mother, Macaria Mendez, and my brother, Ben Mendez. So they had this one little event, and then they decided to create this organization. So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Claudia, because now what I thought was going to be an annual one-night event is now a 3-day festival at the Wortham. We do a festival in McAllen in the Valley, a 1-day festival there. We do a golf tournament. We just had our second, and it sold out with 72 teams. We have a loteria, and we do a Catrina competition. And next year, we're actually going to do our first ballet folklorico competition. So
Oh,
every year,
wonderful.
it just keeps
Mhm.
growing and just new activities. So, yeah, I just did it in 2019. So this is our sixth annual. So it just keeps
Sixth
growing
annual.
every year,
That's amazing.
every
And
year. So,
that to see
yeah,
this growth,
yeah,
yes, aplausos. To see this
yeah.
growth.
Soy Mateo López, tengo 10 años, estoy en el Guinness Book of World Records para el más joven mariachi del mundo. Sabes, cuando tenía 4 años, fui a México Tiene Talento y
Wow.
agarré el botón dorado para asegurarme un lugar en los semifinales.
Wow.
Y hasta llegué a los finales. Luego, después de eso, fui a Los Ángeles a cantar a Little Big Shots
Oh
con
my
Melissa
gosh.
McCarthy, a cantar México Lindo en mi traje de charro, y también canté en muchos otros lugares como MLB por los Houston Astros y
Oh.
también por los Boston Red Sox, y también canté por el NBA por los Houston Rockets y también por los Clippers y Lakers. Canté por el NFL por los San Francisco 49ers. Y por último, canté por el MLS, el MLS All-Star Game, canté el himno mexicano. También estaba en el frente de este magazine que se llama USA Today y también estaba en People Magazine. Conocí a The Rock cuando canté el himno nacional en el XFL. Y también canté en el histórico Rockefeller Center con Kelly Clarkson. Yo y ella cantamos.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
And he's going to be there
Yeah.
on one of these days,
Yes.
right? Oh my God, that is amazing. So, seeing this and see how it's grown, it's so needed to make sure that despite what's happening, despite our culture or our voices being they're trying to silence, trying to cast us aside, that we've always been here. And we're
Yes.
going to continue being here. And let's go out and celebrate. Because one thing that I kept hearing, and I don't know about you, Conchita, and you, Belinda, is that even though we're going through what we're going through, to still have joy in our life. To not let what's happening steal our thunder, steal our joy, steal what we do. Because we are going to continue. And as long as I can have a voice and you can have a voice and we're going to have, we can go up to the Mariachi Festival and then go over to your festival that we're both ambassadors of.
Yes.
Tell a little bit about Viva las Mujeres Festival. Talk a little bit about that.
Sorry,
It's
guys.
the International Women's
you guys.
Festival, International Women's Festival, and it's going to be September 6th from 3 to 9 p.m. at Midtown Park. It's the first of its kind here in Houston. We are so excited. It's something that it will be happening next year in March, but this year we wanted to show a huge impact in the community and also give the flowers to our women here in Houston. So it's going to be a very diverse selection of those that we're going to honor and recognize on September 6th from 3 to 9 p.m. at Midtown
Nice.
Park.
Okay. And I see that there's still
Sponsorship levels.
Yeah, still sponsorships available as well as vendorship available.
Yes, and this is a great opportunity for women-owned businesses that have items or services to present to other women. This would be a great time to promote and celebrate our women, international women.
All right, and there we are on the we're part of the ambassadors.
Yes.
We've been out there sharing the flyers, sharing the information, and just like here, being on here and sharing it with you guys.
Yes, it's very exciting being the first of its kind and the event held in Houston.
Yes.
Really excited.
So that's September the 6th. It's around the corner.
Yes.
I can't wait. And again, community. We need to continue coming out, supporting each other's events, showing up.
Yes.
And you know what? When she said about all those people showing up at that location for Mariachi Fest, I'm like, Should you and I put up a table and sign people up to vote? Let's talk to Belinda later about that.
Yeah, we need to, and then also the women, the International Women's
And that
Fest
too.
too.
I guess that's it. You know, community.
We have a very important election on November 4th, and that includes Congressional District 18, which is what the former Sylvester Turner, his seat, which was, you know, Sheila Jackson Lee's seat, very historic Black district. And then we also have a special election for at-large position 4, City of Houston at-large position 4. And we would like our people to come out and vote. If you're going to start voting, vote now, November 4th.
How early can we start voting for November 4th?
It's October. Right? Early voting is October. Oh, my goodness.
But it's about 2 weeks before, right?
It's 2 weeks before. I think it's like October 23rd to the 31st, and then the November 4th election.
Okay.
It's around that.
So we need everyone to put this on their calendar. We just like the way you put down the Mariachi Festival, the International Women's Festival, your kids' first day of school, the visit to the dentist, all of that.
Yes.
Put November 4th on your calendar as a day to go out and vote. And also, you said earlier, which is super important, check your voting status.
Yes.
You don't want to show up, but they're like, you don't belong here, you know? Yeah. And I know I'm going to sound a little over the top, but dude, if you're going to, you take everything, take your papers, take your voting card, take your driver's license, take your, what else do we need to take?
Take your driver's license and your passport. It's a safe bet because the passport has your picture and your ID and it's historical, so forth. And at this point, that's really what we're using. Even as we're driving, we get pulled over, I'm showing them my ID and my passport. So it's critical that we kind of figure out the end game, be ahead of it.
Be ahead of it, so we're ready for that.
And then also, I do want to mention, because you mentioned school, for those that are considered illegal, if you're concerned about what happens if I get picked up, what would happen to my children, there are forms that you can put down for emergency who you would temporarily assign your children to if you're picked up. And you can provide those documents and give them to the school district. So you can give them to your children's school and show that there is a plan B in case you're picked up.
Okay, so it's super important information. So if you know, if you're listening right now and you're watching and you have family or you have friends or you have comadres or somebody, please make sure that they have a plan and put yourself down, because this is a time where we got to watch out for each other. At this point, it's about humanity. Yeah, it's about humanity. It's about making sure that people are okay.
And we have to take care of each other. In this state of situation, the way we are, it's critical we take care of each other. Check on your seniors, make sure they have food. They're putting their AC. We had an elderly that her AC was down. It was 102 in her apartment. She died. Yeah. You know, so I'm always doing, check on your seniors, check on your neighbors. But overall, just stop somebody, says, how are you doing? What's your mental health check? You know, I do that with my daughter.
I was going to ask you, how about you? How are you doing, Conchita?
I'm doing great. I was trained and born to survive in crisis like this. And I think that's why I flourish so well. If it was boring and dull, that would be another issue. But no, showing other people how to flourish in crisis like this is where I need to focus on and show that we can survive and we have survived before. But, it's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because this is a great country. And even with its, dimples and warts and bumps and stuff, hiccups, we still survive and we take care. And, that's the thing, during Harvey, during the pandemic, we took care of each other. Yeah. We took care of each other. It didn't matter what color we were, what political party we were and all that stuff. Yeah. And that's what drives me, it keeps me going. And I love my city and I love the people in it. So I'm going to keep luchando and adelante.
No nos queda más. Like Selene said, and I always that's my work. My work is with mental health and supports and my go-to is when I do trainings, we always start off with yourself. How are you doing? How is my scan your body? Is it hungry? Is it sleepy? Is it worried? And how can we then mitigate that before we face all the things that we want to do? So that's I'm always advocating, and I don't know about you, but I'm in the hot flash era. That's why I always have my AC on about 69 around here, or 65 sometimes.
Well, it doesn't really matter about hot flashes. It's just hot as hell here in Houston.
I know. Houston is having a hot flash. Period. So I'm always like, trying to make sure that I'm okay. I didn't learn that early because, growing up, it's a different times.
First of all, most of us didn't have health insurance to even afford counseling. And then we didn't even have money to do counseling. And then it was a taboo in most of our family households, so it was a 3-strike against us. And most of us didn't get the counseling we needed until we reached maybe college or even after, or we didn't even know we had issues.
Had an issue.
Child trauma, which, to be honest with you, when I go and speak to the HPD cadets, I even ask them, raise your hand if you've had some type of child trauma. And they're like raising their hand. And I said, that is why you're here.
Yeah.
You channeled your child trauma into something positive, which is you want to make a difference. And you can see the heads nod like, yeah,
absolutely.
And that's why I am the way I am.
I think me too. I thrive under emergencies.
Yes.
I was a principal, so I was like, I became my first year as an assistant principal was on 9/11. 9/11, when the Twin Towers came down, we had like 1 week of school, and then we had a bomb threat on our campus. And then we had to redo, and I was like, an action. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was like, what do we do? Okay, call. And then we had to do a regroup, and then we had to update all of our protocols and what have you.
Yeah.
We did everything wrong. And then 9/11 happened a few days later. And I was on it. I was like, radio, keys, I've always thrived in emergencies. I mean, anytime. I remember one of my students breaking their arm while she fell off the swing, and I'm like, all right, got into action, got something, put her arm on it, and calling getting the kids lined up. It was early on in my career, and just really following through. You never had any issue. I mean, I remember even watching Pilar when she fell on her chin and busted her chin, and blood went everywhere. And I said, don't move. First of all, gotta make sure you landed like this, so flat on the floor. Nobody move her. I told at that time, I said, Silani, go get me some towels. Alex, I need you to get the phone so you can call 911. And I was just holding her, making sure she was okay. Don't move. Can you wiggle your fingers? Can you, I was just going through that. And then she was okay. We just drove her, and they put her chin back inside and sewed her up.
Yeah. Well, most of the moms thrive on pressure, high emergency, pressure and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we just know how to handle things. But these are the times where we need to thrive, and especially Latinas. We are the fastest growing entrepreneurs, but we're also the fastest
college educated entrepreneurs, college educated. And you said what was one thing?
Running for office.
And running for office. So with that in mind, I know that you're going to run again at some point. So I'm excited to see that. But until then, thank you for continuously stepping into the arena, despite, it wasn't your time yet. That's just the way I see it. When something doesn't happen, it just wasn't your time yet. And that's okay. Because you have another mission to accomplish, another assignment. So this is your current assignment. These are the assignments that are given to us. And then once we complete those, you never know when that assignment comes up for you again. So thank you for stepping into that arena or never leaving it, and you come from a line of elected officials, people that have always been in la comunidad, and you're just continuing that. And may your child, maybe someone in your family, as they continue growing, that they take that civic mindedness and share it and cherish it the way you have. So
thank you.
And keep living your fabulous life. So are we 50 already?
Are we what?
Are we 50 already?
Yes, we're 50, going to go 51 in September. September 20.
Nice. Well, I just turned 51 and it's been good so far.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're like in our, like this is another chapter where we're going to continue doing amazing things, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to do them with you, causing commotion where I can, and
Good travel.
yeah, making good trouble, whether it's, in office, ready for office, helping those in office, town halls, here on this station,
Advocating.
and sharing, advocating. Thank you for being a connect, a friend, a super comadre, and an amazing fellow human being. Thank you.
Thank you.
And take care of you, because we still got a lot
Yes.
of work to do.
Yes. I know. I'm
A
like
lot of
looking
work
at
to
the
do.
clock. How much more time do I have?
That too, yeah. It's how much more time do we have? Now, thank you so much, and we're gonna take a little quick picture afterwards. But I want to say, los que están aquí escuchando, gracias por estar aquí conmigo. So thank you so much for being here and connecting with me, La Super Comadre. And just a little reminder that the Super Comadre Claudia show, the Hey Comadre, and the Claudia Macias podcast is solely for educational and entertainment purposes and should not be substituted for professional support or services. So just wanted to say that. And also that all the things that we say here are opinions based on ourselves. Like what I say does not reflect RadioCrystalUSA.com or whatever the guests say as well do not reflect the radio station. We are all coming to share and to connect. And hopefully you had a great time with us. So I think, and I want to give a thanks to our great sponsors. They're always making sure that we're on for you. We have Chris Pignon with Media Studios, an amazing photographer. Please contact him for your photos. He's the one that always does mine. Ilsa's Glam Boutique, always glamming me up with her earrings. But they have a whole line of purses, earrings, hats, you name it. Get yourself glammed up with Ilsa's Glam Boutique. And Cookie Face Cosmetics. Go ahead and get Cookie Faced up. She has a lot of amazing products to keep you looking fantabulous, especially when you're in your 50s. And finally, Menowake, who's also been helping me as I go through this time in my life of menopause. Try her Menowake products, and also they are a major sponsor of the upcoming International Women's Festival that's coming up on September the 6th. And that was it. If you're going to go to the Mariachi Festival, make sure to follow Belinda Luna. Make sure you get your tickets so that and I'll see you on Saturday. I will be there on Saturday. Thank you so much for the tickets that were gifted to me by Belinda. We're gonna be seeing each other there if you go on Saturday, and connect with yourself. Make sure to take care of yourself. Scan your body. Make sure you're eating, drinking your water, taking your breaks, resting, because we have a lot of work to do when you're a human. But part of the work is to rest as well. Put your head down, take care of you before you start taking care of everything on your list and everyone around you. And continue doing good for humankind. We need each other. Make sure to build your community. Reach out to them. And if you ever feel like you need some support, don't stay quiet. You got to connect with others. All right. That's it. ¿Tan? ¿Ya terminamos? ¿Tan? Gracias por haber estado aquí en el show Catching Up with Claudia. ¿Tan? ¿Ya terminamos? Okay, bye.